Hey there, Quantum Terror supporters. Christopher here, and I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I have an update for you. It was a very rough holiday. I'm sure it was a rough holiday for a lot of people, but it was also a nice holiday. I did get to spend it with family. I did have some very cool things going on, and I'm going to talk about those because they do involve the Quantum Terror. Of course, it has been a slog, me trying to get this movie out. As I've said before, it is done. It is edited. I'm very satisfied with it. I've even shown it to a few people who have all had nice things to say about it. And so I want to talk a bit about that. I want to talk a bit about where we are. So over the holidays, Derek Hunt and I got together and came up with a plan for finishing the audio, overcoming some technical barriers. We've had some issues with Adobe. I edited this movie in Adobe Premiere, used After Effects for a lot of the visual effects shots, pretty much all the visual effects shots. And there have been some output issues. I won't go into the technical details, but Derek and I figured out workarounds for them. We are also going to be getting together with a couple of the actors. Matt Blackwell and Val Merrick are going to come in and do some ADR. And by the way, I'm going to hold this up. Oh, it's right here. This mic was sent to me by Derek. Now, Derek, as I've said before, has put a lot of his own money into this movie, not directly into the movie like an investor would, but he's invested money in new computer programs. And he sent me this microphone, which is a nice condenser mic that I'm hoping this is my test with. This is my experiment. This is the first time I'm using it, so I will be just as surprised to hear any difference in sound as you are. I guess that's the right way of putting it. So anyway, Derek has this wonderful computer program that I forgot what it's called that he invested money in, and what it does, in addition to enabling him to clean up all the audio we captured during the movie, and like I said, we're going to re-record some of the dialogue just to get a little bit more of the stereo sound, because I didn't have a dedicated sound person during the recording of the Quantum Terror. I did, and then I didn't, and that's a whole story unto itself. Anyway, so we're doing what we can to get the audio to a level that video on demand and DVD require for distribution. Distribution is something that I am looking at. I've kind of got two plans. Now, you guys watching this video are my Quantum Terror Indiegogo supporters first. I will probably make this video public later, but I want my Indiegogo supporters to know that I've never forgotten about them, and you are forever my first priority when it comes to the completion of this film. You guys are getting the digital downloads, you're getting the rewards that I promised you, and I am going to look into sweetening the rewards by getting maybe a better quality of the reward, maybe getting a few additional things in there that you didn't ask for, but because you've been also great. And I expected some anger at the movie not being released yet. I've gotten a tiny bit of that, and I understand it. I am frustrated, and I at my inability to get the movie out by this time. A lot of you have been like, well, it happens when it happens, which I'm very grateful for. Some of you have gone so far as to say, hey, we know this movie matters a lot, and we want to see it be the best movie it can, and it that takes time, and I appreciate that. I appreciate all the different points of view. The fact is, you guys are my audience. You guys are who I tell stories for. If I don't have an audience, then there's no point in me doing it. I guess I could make movies and watch them by myself, but who wants to do that? And I think, these movies are made because I see a bit of a dissatisfaction in the audience. And I'm not saying they're not satisfied with the general output of horror movies or surrealist movies or science fiction movies or whatever kind of movies you're into. I just see that audiences notice a redundancy in theme and they want something a bit different, and I want something a bit different. So I'm making movies that I feel are movies that I want to see but haven't been made yet. I can't watch them because they haven't been made yet, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there who would love to see these movies because they have not been. This is not a movie you've ever seen. It starts off like a horror movie would, and then it quickly goes into true Lovecraftian surrealist horror and metaphysics, and it does it in a way. The only person I've ever seen do it similarly was, and if you've read it, I don't think this is a spoiler for the Quantum Terror, but I think Alan Moore with Providence, the way he ended it, the last. I'm sure that the last issue of Providence was an influence on the Quantum Terror, as well as David Lynch, as well as David Cronenberg, as well as John Carpenter, as well as Ridley Scott. Anyway, I am digressing like hell here. The fact is that we want this movie to be of a certain quality. It is of that quality, but now we have to reach the technical aspects, especially with the audio, for video on demand and DVD and Blu-ray distribution. There are not too many people who actually went for the... I don't have many DVDs to actually fulfill for the Quantum Terror. I think the total amount equals about, I don't know, 10 or 20. I'll have to go back and look and make sure of that. I don't know. But the fact is I could produce 10, 20, 30 DVDs, no problem, fulfill that reward as soon as it's done. The digital download, that is another... Is somebody making a phone call? Yeah, no, somebody's trying to call me, and that is... I don't know who's trying to call me. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So I want to talk a few minutes about a couple of things. What should I talk about first? I sent this movie in a rough form to a few of my close friends, actors, special effects artists that I respect, and I won't drop any names right now, but they are really talented people who, they would give me a straight opinion. They wouldn't mess me around, and they have good things to say about this movie. The most recent, and it's not going to seem like a huge deal to a lot of people, but they said, I did a really good job with the coverage and editing. Two separate people said that. One person said coverage, one person said editing. But that makes me feel really good because what was pointed out by the person that said something about coverage is that a lot of low-budget movies don't do that, and therefore that's kind of a tell for low-budget movies. So I'm happy about that. I got the proper coverage to make it feel like a professional movie. A lot of people have mentioned that this is like a midnight movie. If you're familiar with the midnight movies, they kind of go hand in hand with the grindhouse, the grind exploitation, that sort of thing. And I'm really happy about that. Somebody said it has a real 16 millimeter feel, which was also something I was going for. So I'm very happy about these things. And like I said, these are not anybody's. These are professional actors, special effects artists in the industry. And I'm really thrilled that I'm getting positive feedback from them. And they all got different things to say. There have been some little criticisms here and there, but they all vary in different ways, which I think adds up to personal taste. And of course, this movie does have its limitations. What else? The acting. I've been getting great feedback on the acting, too. A lot of people have been saying, these actors... Kristen Koshel, Paula Sullinger, Matt Blackwell, Val Merrick, Jordan Brinkman, Demetrius Polito, they all got individual comments of strengths of their performances. So I'm really happy about that as well. So anyway, going back to the technical specs, these programs help fulfill the technical specs of the different platforms. You know, if I want to get it on Amazon or Tubi or even Netflix, which is, it's not going to get on Netflix, but you never know. So distribution, I am still talking to some distributors. I'll say flirting with some distributors. I've been turned down by one already who said that they loved the film, but it was just too weird for them. Maybe I said who that was before. I can't remember. The other thing is, anyway, there's a couple of other distributors that I am looking into, and if they don't go for it, or if they don't make me an offer that I like, then I will go with self-distribution. What I think is most important is I want to retain the physical media rights. I want to be able to produce more Blu-rays, more DVDs, and that sort of thing. And I will probably do from here on out, after I fulfill all the original crowdfunding things, I may go back to crowdfunding as a way to produce more copies of DVDs and Blu-rays and other material as a way of selling direct rather than crowdfunding. I'm never going to crowdfund another feature again, because I don't want to ever have to ask people to wait as long as they have for the Quantum Terror. Again, I feel terrible about that, and I've really struggled and tried to not have it take this long to make this movie, but I don't want to put people through that. So from here on out, this is my promise to myself and everyone else. I will fund the movie independently. I will use crowdfunding for fulfillment. So if I ever ask for money from crowdfunding again, it will be for something that is already made, so I can get them directly to them in a timely manner. So having said all that, that's pretty much the update. Derek's plan and I at the moment is essentially we're going through the movie 10 minutes at a time, and I am telling him, okay, we need music here, we need a sound effect here. We've already got a lot of the sound effects in there already, a lot of Foley work, and Derek has done some music, but we're just kind of spotting all the areas where audio needs improvement, where a little bit more music is needed, if, you know, a sound effect could be bumped up, you know, if somebody's voice needs to be turned into something more demonic. There are no actual demons in this movie. Demonic just as a general term. And that's pretty much it. That's where we're at. I wanted to keep you updated. I wanted to wish you a happy new year. 2021 is definitely the year of the Quantum Terror, even though I said it was going to be 2016, 19, 20. It is really embarrassing, but it's not for my lack of trying. It is that this has been a learning process for me. I've learned a lot, not only about filmmaking, but a lot about myself as a person. A lot of myself is in this movie. A lot of our world is in this movie. I don't want to say current events specifically, but the world we live in, the attitudes we take, how we conflict with one another, that has all come to bear in this story and the other stories that I want to tell, but not in a way that is beating you over the head with it. You know, I get a lot of people who are telling me that they've got their quarantine scripts that they've written, you know, about essentially commentary on current events. And I think that's great. I think that they need to be done in very creative ways, though. We don't want to be too literal. I think it's important to make art that, art being a subjective term, by the way. I know some people say, no, you're making entertainment. Art comes on accident. I don't know. That's a whole other subject there, and I'll address that in my YouTube channel. The thing is that I want whatever we create to reflect the time. So maybe 100 years from now, somebody will see it in a classroom or something, and they'll have some historical context for why we created the works, the stories, the movies that we did. And I think that the Quantum Terror is going to be one of those movies. And I really am grateful that you chose to be a part of it. And I really believe that even though you've had to wait a really long time, when you see it and when you see how other people react to it, you will be proud to have been a part of it yourself. So thank you. I'm proud of this movie. I'm grateful to you. And Happy New Year.